everyone on their nan, whether it's the credited journalists, the ITKs. Cunha is someone consistently being linked with Arsenal Football Club. Yesterday, or better yet, 13 hours ago, Team News and Tick said, I'm told there is one player who Arsenal are very close to agreeing terms with, but getting him out of his club will be the hard bit. I don't have a name at the moment. Now, then just shut the fuck up. Pardon my language. Then what's the point? You know, these ITK dons need to all go work for Shadeborough. But Arsenal are taking the approach they took in the 2023 summer transfer window in trying to agree terms with players and get them on board in order to, in theory, make it easier to get them out of their current clubs. Now, that last paragraph, that again, there's other ways of doing things. That might sound exciting. That's what half football clubs do. You agree, you're not supposed to talk to players without permission, but you indirectly with the agents, do they want to join the club? How much wages they want? What sort of contract? Manager has a little conversation with them, as we've seen many a times. Then you try and get something done. So this sounds great in theory, but this is nothing new that happens with footballers, if I'm completely honest with you lot people. So that doesn't really tell me anything. And crucially, we could talk about Cunha till we're blue in the face, which we are going to, until you agree a fee. If you agree a fee, it's a non-story. For me with Cunha, I don't necessarily think there's a need for him in a sense of you're not a pure striker, you're not a pure winger, but I like you. You could play as a 10 if Odegaard's not there. You could play on the left, play on the right. I'm not really for the false nines, but can play there. You're great in tight spaces. You're not necessarily a true winger. You are Premier League proven. Bring it in it. But I don't know, people. And where you look at it, bearing in mind he's got 2 years left on his deal, Mr. Connor Hume said, Arsenal ready Matheus Cunha swoop. Arsenal exploring a January move for Wolves star Matheus Cunha, sources have told Football Insider. Bearing in mind, we've been here for Caicedo, been here for Caicedo, been here for Mudryk, been here for Vlahovic. Until you see bids agreed, fans on the weirdos online tracking flights and cars and everything. Until I see Cunha coming out and saying, I guess he's Brazilian. I used to watch Edu and Gilberto Silva in the Invincibles. I grew up watching Thierry Henry and Bergkamp. Pinch of salt. It's just merely a talking point. Arsenal exploring a January move for Wolves star Matheus Cunha, sources have told Football Insider. The 25-year-old has caught the eye with his stunning form for the Molineux club so far in the 2024-25 campaign. A well-placed source has told Football Insider that Arsenal are pushing to land the attacker in the mid-season window, which shuts on the 3rd of February. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Why is it shut on the 3rd of February? I thought it was the 31st of Jan, but fair enough. However, it's believed Wolves are reluctant to let the Brazil international go, presenting a major stumbling block for the Gunners to overcome before a deal can be agreed. Are they prepared to overpay? Naturally, Wolves, if you're Wolves, you're sitting there and saying, you know what, Cunha, if you want to leave like not like a man, but leave like a man. Stay here now. Do your thing. Make sure we stay in the Premier League. In the summer, we'll pattern it and make it happen. And, you know, let's just say, I'm dreaming, but Arsenal offer Wolves 70 million right now, and then in the summer Wolves only selling for 50. Of course, you've lost out. There's a 20 million difference, but that 20 million might not mean anything if you have Premier League security, essentially. So it is what it is. They're reluctant to letting him go. Again, their new manager has just signed for the club. They're in a relegation fight, but 10 goals and 4 assists in 20 games in all comps. I want that at my football club. Wolves reluctant to sell Cunha this month as Arsenal make move. He has hit 24 Premier League goals in 68 games in the English top flight since joining the Midlands club from Atletico Madrid on an initial loan 2 years ago. An obligation to buy clause made the move permanent for a reported fee of 44 million in 2023. So 44 million, how much would you lot say is an acceptable fee? Not from a Wolves perspective, because rightly so, they know Arsenal are desperate. They want to keep him. They should overprice us. 60 in today's day and age, is 60 all right? Little profit for you lot. I'm sure Atletico got a little sell-on clause. I don't know. Apparently, Arsenal decided to explore a move for another forward player after Bukayo Saka's injury. We all know we're going to be without the talisman for a number of months after he underwent a hamstring surgery and operation. So it is what it is. Credit to Ben, because again, then you look at the Daily Mail. This is where the mind games happen. Does Arsenal have an interest? I'm sure everybody's interested in Cunha, but does it go from interest to legitimately trying to buy him? Is this just paper talk, or is his agent putting things out there because they're trying to get him to sign a new deal? He's got 2 years left. This says Wolves are working on a new deal for informed star Matheus Cunha in a bid to ward off Arsenal interest, with the Gunners looking to sign a new forward amid Bukayo Saka's injury. The Gunners want to sign a new forward this month following the hamstring injury suffered by Saka. Cunha is emerging as a genuine target for Mikel Arteta, but Wolves are determined to fend off their interest by offering the Brazilian an improved deal at the Molineux. The forward has 2.5 years left to run in his current contract, but is likely to be tempted by Arsenal. We've seen players tempted. Caicedo was doing up chattings on Instagram. Mudryk was doing up chattings. Douglas Luiz was doing up chattings. He can be as tempted as he wants. Arsenal could want to get him. You need to agree a fee before anything goes. And we all know January is a difficult window. Bearing in mind, Wolves will have to, it will have a knock-on effect because Wolves will have to replace him. And think about it logically. If there's an inside forward at whatever club, Wolves sell Cunha to us. Wolves try to come to us if I'm that club to buy my player, sorry. I'm going to say, boy, I just saw you get 60, 70 million. And plus, we've got our own things that we're trying to do this season. If you want him, the asking price was 40. You better have 60 for us. Not sure where it goes. And that's assuming Wolves don't want to do anything else in the market. Naturally, they want him to tie himself down. I don't know if Cunha wants to sign a new deal. I'm sure everyone's got ambitions and all of that to do other stuff, but we'll have to see. But if Wolves can successfully tie the forward down to a new deal, which could include a release clause, it would effectively end Arsenal's hopes of a deal this month, unless the Emirates Stadium club are willing to pay over the player's valuation. Wolves have shown a sharp improvement under newly appointed head coach Victor Pereira, but remain in relegation danger. With that in mind, the Molineux club are determined to keep the 25-year-old this month, which his age is a good profile. Those sources close to the deal are not completely ruling out a move. I mean, sources close to the deal, willingness to do it. He could be enticed by Arsenal. This is stuff that arouses your imagination. For me, I just need to see people picturing you arriving at London Coley, innit? And for me, boy, off the left-hand side, that would be great, man, if I'm honest with you. Well, there's nothing else of that article. So that's where we're at. We've gone over that already. Moving on, Mikel Arteta did say on new signings, the market in January is much more limited than the one in the summer. He then said on making signings this month, when something is in the market that we can afford and believe is going to have a real impact on the team, we have to be open to that possibility. But at the moment, the focus is on what we have. I'm not going to lie, Arteta. I remember when you used to say we have to maximize every transfer market. This don't sound as bullish as it used to be. Fair enough. The market is much more limited than the one in the summer, but I don't know if fans have to be realistic. People's expectations and dreams are something good. Boy, I don't know, man. We heard, there's money there. There's no limitations. We'll have to see. What is this? This January, Mikel Arteta's 11th transfer window as Arsenal manager. He has recently passed his 5th anniversary in charge. In total, he's signed 30 players for a gross spend of 714 million. Despite 2.5 years of competing for the Premier League title, there remains a nagging sense that Arsenal are still a couple of finishing touches away from truly completing the transformation of the squad. The one area of particular focus in this regard is the forward line. Arteta has 6 options: Bukayo Saka, who's obviously injured, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Martinelli, Jesus, Trossard, and Sterling for 3 positions. The manager's mantra has always been they can win without relying on a superstar goal scorer. Saka's a superstar, and can you really? Can you really? Fair enough. As Liverpool have in Salah or Manchester City possessing Haaland, but the decline in open play chances over the past 2 seasons has called the theory of collective firepower into question. And really, I'm not dissing them. They're all good players, but truly, hand on your heart, people, of those names there, from August to May, who is going to get double figures for goals and assists, whether it's in the Prem or all comps? Saka is the one you'd bet your life savings on, right? Other than that, Jesus, like you as a footballer, as you look, no, great form. Trossard, you've shown you can score goals, but you're not really a starter like that. Sterling, Gaza, man, we love you. Myth, Martinelli, Myth, Kai Havertz, you did your thing in the second half of the season and you've done quite well at Arsenal. But if we're looking at you to be the difference maker rather than just someone that can do that, I personally believe we're in a spot of bother. So let's move on. In this context, it's interesting to reflect on a major, there's no way I can say that word, people, of Arteta's 5 years in charge, the lack of investment in the forward line. He assigned just 6 wingers and strikers in that time, one of whom was then 32-year-old Willian on a free transfer in the summer of 2020, who left a year into a 3-year deal. He's actually left Olympiacos now. Another was Marquinhos, who was signed at 19 for 3 million and has played just 1 minute in the Premier League. He's currently on loan at Fluminense. In comparison, he signed 5 goalkeepers, 11 defenders, and 8 midfielders. In both volume and cost, Arteta has invested more than double on those tasked with stopping goals. I don't disagree with that because defense wins titles. I'm here for that. I'm here for that. But defense wins titles, goals win games, and we don't know how we're going to do that, regardless of Gabriel Jesus' form. Hoping Martinelli does a thing, maybe Kai Havertz potentially exceeding initial expectations. There's no way around it. Like, this is why I tell fans, you can look at the last 2 seasons. There's been an improvement in terms of scoring goals. There has been seasons across the last 2 years where there's been multiple goal scorers. But when you break it down, if we're not scoring from set pieces and we're not creating chances, we're in issues. If Saka isn't doing the business, we're in issues. Again, if we just want to be a team that challenges, we have more than enough. If you want to be a team that gets over the line, there needs to be more answers than questions. That's just my thoughts, though. So I don't necessarily disagree with that, but yeah, people. Usually figures reported by The Athletic at the time, he has spent 299.2 million on the first or defensive third of the pitch and 275.4 on the middle. Just 140 million, 19% of Arsenal spending has been put into the final third, and that figure includes 65 million on Kai Havertz, whose signing was predicated on the idea of him playing in midfield before happenstance aligned him with the 9 role, which is true. And we was quite naive, man. I love the signing of Gabriel Jesus. He did very well in those 6 months, but I got a lot of heat on YouTube for saying it's going to be like Lacazette. He's going to be a good player. He's going to make the difference, but he's not going to score goals. We ain't even signed that many attackers. To be fair, of the attacking options, Trossard's been one of the better ones. Odegaard's been a very good signing. Kai's doing his thing. Jesus hasn't been terrible, but hasn't been amazing. But if you were to look through, the further back you go, we're more happy with those kind of collective signings. No, I'm not sure. I think Gyökeres will be a better striker than Isak long term. Gyökeres will get more goals in the next couple of seasons. DG Brazil stocks in Arsenal are going to go through the roof if Cunha signs. I hear it. I wouldn't mind having Ferguson, but he's not first choice when he lands at the carpet. We do need curtain raisers. Gyökeres looks like he's hungry and works hard for the team and scores all the time and would suit Arsenal. Ferguson is in no man's land. Either Brighton have told him what the plan is for him over the next few years, or he's just about surplus to requirements there. Arteta can't make the excuse because he wasted last summer's transfer window, and I would expect to do better this month. Nico, Isak, Saka, or Gyökeres? Saka, which lineup you going for? I'd rather Isak personally. Don't understand why we're linked with Ferguson. I get he's young, but he can't get into the team over Welbeck and Pedro. If anything could go wrong after signing Marmoush, it would probably happen to us. Marmoush could be good, but damn, he looks risky for us to sign. Isak is nice, but he's expensive and could pick up plenty of knocks. That's the only other name I consider from the list. Need to be Gyökeres from that list. No player from Germany. They go up in the Prem big time. Bit harsh. I'm sure if I sat down, there's some examples of German players doing all right. I think if we go big on Cunha, then there'll be a lot of outgoings this summer. People like Partey safe. There's going to have to be, really. But what I don't want is you sign Cunha and people sit there and say, oh, we don't need an attacking signing. Because let's be real, some of you fans were sitting there saying we don't need a striker because we got Kai Havertz. Might be unpopular, but I don't think Cunha solves any of our problems. I don't think he solves any of our problems. I think he's a great player, and I think he'll make other players play better. I think he's Premier League proven. I think he's adaptable. At the end of the day, we've had 1 to 2 attackers on the bench in our last 2 games. I don't think he necessarily solves anything, but I wouldn't be against his signing, man. We've got a stronger team, if I'm honest. Like, would you reckon? Who have we got? Obviously, we'll say what? Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Martinelli, Trossard, if I haven't said that, young Ethan, Asterix, because he can play all about the place. I might be missing out someone. Is he a better option than Trossard? Trossard has to stay. I like him in the squad, but is he a better option off that left than Trossard? Is he a better attacking player than Trossard? I'm asking you, let me know. Is he better than Trossard? Is he better than Martinelli? Is he better than Gabriel Jesus? At least for this season, is he a better option than Raheem Sterling? Is he a better option than everybody excluding Bukayo Saka? And I would extend that to Kai Havertz because I very much doubt Cunha is going to play through the middle. And if he does on a consistent basis for Arsenal, let me know your thoughts. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, man. It'll be interesting. The main reason I don't want to sign Cunha is because the club themselves will treat him as a Haaland signing. If we do that, that's crazy. Ferguson is big and strong, but think he started to believe the hype about himself, needs to go back to basics, doesn't like the place for Ireland either. Stuart, but that's the thing with these young players. I'm not saying you're saying this, yeah, but he's young. He's a baby for a striker, He's a baby. And I think in the modern day, when you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and people say you're good and like you've shown patches of brilliance, people start thinking that you're the finished article already. Like, he needs to go and get game time. As much as I'm sure Brighton want to give him game time, at the end of the day, Brighton are trying to achieve what they want to achieve. And I'm not watching Brighton on a religious basis, but has João Pedro performed better than him? Probably. Is Danny Welbeck performing better than him? Probably. I know he's not a winger, but just in terms of attacking options, Mitai, Mitoma, all them kind of guys, Aderinga, they've all been doing the job. So I think he needs to go on loan personally. I can understand the Arsenal links, but for me, if I'm him, you've been starved of minutes. You have had 1-2 injuries. I think he's actually ruled out the Brighton game tomorrow. You need to go somewhere you're guaranteed games. I think you could get that at West Ham, because who is West Ham's number 9? I know Bowen plays all about the place, but you could get some game time there. You're linked with Fulham. Are you playing ahead of Muniz or Jimenez necessarily? At Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus' form at the moment, Kai Havertz was his spot. Are you playing ahead of them necessarily? You be a body here. Are you playing ahead of them? Was once upon a time linked with Chelsea. Are you playing ahead of Nicholas Jackson? Manchester United are apparently big admirers of him. Are they going to sign another Youth man striker where you've got Zertsky and Højlund? Probably not. Spurs have even got Solanke. That's a myth. You know, he's been even linked with Ipswich. Unless they're going to go 2 up front, are you playing ahead of Liam Delap? My man needs to go and get game time. I wouldn't be against him in the sense of isolated from this season and what we're trying to achieve. Just him, if we could get a trick out of him on a long term and he's available at a discount, bearing in mind, I swear Brighton was saying 100 million and those kind of mad things when he was coming on the scene. I'm on that, but it's a bit of a myth, man. So in fact, it's not a bit, it's a big myth. What's the Athletic said here? We've actually been through this article technically already, people. Like, for me, Mikel Arteta, I need a midfielder. And number 8, I need this is long term. I need, in the summer, I need a striker. I need a number 8 in it. The priority in January for me has to be a wide man. Saka's injured. We know we're linked with Sesko. We know the players at this club who can do the business and who don't. We know the players that we tried to sign. We all know we love Isaac. That's a myth. So yeah, I'm not even going to bother reading that. I was actually not even meant to show that. That was just something I was reading. Allegedly, Arsenal and Aston Villa pounced on Atalanta star Rutigi. Let's see, people. According to La Repubblica, Arsenal and Aston Villa are interested in Atalanta striker Rutigi. Aston Villa, where you got Ollie Watkins and Duran. Maybe someone's going. Apparently, he's attracted interest from Premier League clubs Arsenal and Aston Villa. The Argentine-born striker, I didn't know he was born in Argentina, was the most prolific Italian in 2024. 16 goals in 35 league games for Girona and Atalanta. Last summer, the 25-year-old completed a permanent 22 million euro transfer to Bergamo, Atalanta, and is their joint best scorer in Serie A this term, alongside Marcus Thuram with 12 goals in 17 league games, one every 81 minutes. He's under contract until 2028. Atalanta don't want to sell him in January, people. So it's a bit of a myth. Their managers even said they need attacking reinforcements. So we'll have to see exactly what happens there. I think this is just the same article saying the same things. Moving away from that, Arsenal have been linked with Marco Asensio, who left Real Madrid for PSG, has really struggled. Allegedly, sources have told Court Offside that Asensio is also willing to consider an exit from the Parc de France and is known to be in talks with clubs such as Newcastle and Aston Villa. Emery is also reconsidering signing Carney from Chelsea. That's relevant. PSG are ready to listen to offers in the region of 25 to 30 million euros for the Spain international, although the 2 Premier League clubs would prefer a loan for the remainder of the season. The player's main priority is his playing time. Other clubs closely monitoring the situation of the midfielder at PSG are Real Sociedad, Real Betis and Arsenal. So yeah, we having Asensio or not, people? Moving away from that, Arsenal and Spurs apparently are showing interest in Stuttgart midfielder Enzo Miliot, with Premier League clubs continuing to monitor his progress this season. I'd have him. I think the technical level's there. I think he's got, I think he's got that. He's not a hothead, but I think he's got the attitude and mentality. And at only 22, wouldn't be against signing the former Monaco lad. He's played 24 times this season, 22 years of age, as I said, people. He's very versatile, can play as both an attacking and central midfielder, and he could also be deployed right wing. I don't want to see him there. Apparently, this is a big attraction for many clubs, and sources have told Court Offside that Arsenal and Tottenham are monitoring the situation. Scouts from the clubs have been following the 22-year-old throughout the current campaign and are believed to be very impressed by the French star's vision, ball control, and offensive abilities. So we have to see, people, really and truly. It's uncertain if Stuttgart will be willing to sell the midfielder in 2025, but if they are, the young talent is not short of suitors, people. Both North London clubs could do with Miliot's services at present, as the French star would boost Mikel Arteta's midfield options at the Emirates, while also providing cover for Saka on the right wing. Though nobody cares what's going on with Spurs, so we'll skip that. We've gone over that already. Marmoush, apparently Manchester City have entered the race to sign him. So Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, everybody's being linked with the Frankfurt striker. Read into that what you will. Once again, Arsenal's interest in Ferguson confirmed as Arteta eyes opportunity, and apparently he's keen to pounce on any January opportunities. Apparently in the summer, sorry people, yeah. In the summer, Mikel Arteta had wanted to bring in Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko, but he opted to sign a new contract instead. Arsenal ultimately decided against signing a new striker just for the sake of making up the numbers, which means they remain attentive to the nine market. With the January window now open, Arteta has admitted that the club are considering potential opportunities. Apparently, he said, let's see if there's an opportunity, we'll look at it. Apparently, one such opportunity could be Brighton youngster Ferguson. Arsenal's interest in the striker dates back to his initial emergence and Football Transfers exclusively reported in 2023 that the Gunners had earmarked him for a potential transfer in 2024. However, recurring injury problems, that's not what we want to hear, especially with our current climate, and a dip in form derailed the Gunners' plans, and Ferguson, once the Premier League's next big thing, now finds himself struggling for minutes under Fabian, I can't pronounce his name, forgive me. In December, reports emerged that Brighton were open to loaning the 20-year-old out in January, though he's insisted these claims are wide of the mark. Ben Jacobs has now reported Brighton have still not made a final decision on his future, with the number one priority right now still getting him back to full health and match sharpness. So, question marks over your health and match sharpness. Does it make sense to sign him in January? I don't know, people. I'm not really sure. Is this a case of creative journalism? Probably, if I'm honest with you. Jonathan David is two-footed. Asensio is past his best. Premier League is too quick for him. We need some two-footed duns. We should go to a club like Newcastle. He should go to a club like Newcastle, Spurs. He'll get minutes. Yeah, but they got like you're gonna be second fiddle. Like you're not gonna be the starter. You're playing catch up to Isaac and maybe even a fit Callum Wilson when that time comes. You're playing second fiddle to Solanke unless the situation changes. I don't know. Not gonna lie, I've already accepted the fact we ain't signing anyone this January window. My expectation could not be lower. Best way can't be disappointed. Shout in the circle, man. Not him, please. Please, not Asensio. I love the silly season links where we're linked to everyone and sign no one. I like Carney, but not at the moment. Are we going to sign a striker and sack a replacement? Watching from Kenya. Luke, I wish I had the answers, man. I wish I had the answers, but I'm here trying to find the answers with you. Until we see David Ornstein and Romano and people are tracking flights, this is just tabloid talk. At the end of the day, it's the hope in life that kills. These rumors are keeping the bills on, keep paying the bills for these journalists. We've been linked with Joe Bellingham, Ferguson, Nico Williams, Ratigi, Nico Williams, if I haven't said that, Rafa Leao. We've been linked with bear players already on the 3rd of January. I'm having Bellingham. Well, I'm having both Bellinghams, man. You should do an FPL chat ahead of game weeks. Who's in your 11 for game week 20? Now, that would be spoiling it. I'm not FPL king like that. I'm just happy to be here with you lot. If we get Nico, I can see him providing so much service to Havertz, but he will be wasteful with big chances or not in the right position, and we can't trust Jesus to score, stay fit. Some of these signings by Arteta are just awful. What do you think of Kubo coming to the carpet? I'm not against it, man. I'm not against it. He's definitely better than Leao Nelly. He's young as well. Could only go upwards bar injuries. I mean, Cunha's 25. So you're at that kind of where you're hitting your kind of peak now if you're not already. I'm not against it. I don't really feel beyond having more creative or better yet attacking options, beyond just getting a good player, I don't really think he solves anything necessarily in Arsenal's 11. Like if everybody's fit, I don't think he solves anything. But off that left-hand side, he can't be any worse than what we've got. And he's a bloody good player. So get it done, man. If we let Marmoush go to Liverpool, how foolish of the board to miss that opportunity. Assuming we're into him, because rightly or wrongly, Arsenal might not even give a flying monkeys about Marmoush. Again, what the tabloids are reporting and what's going on in the footballing world could be very different things, man. Very different things. This is why, for me, I take all of this with a pinch of salt personally. Moving away from that, allegedly, Arsenal ready to trigger Nico Williams' release clause in blockbuster January deal. Yeah, fucking right, mate. Arsenal are continuing their pursuit of athletic club star Nico Williams as they look to bolster their squad in the January transfer window. Sources indicate the Gunners are in ongoing discussions with the player's agent and are prepared to act swiftly to secure the signature of the Spain star, who has a release clause of 58 million euros in his contract with the Bilbao side. Arsenal are waiting for Williams to give the green light to a move before proceeding. So regardless of having the finances to activate his release clause, if he doesn't want to leave his boyhood club mid-season, which in the summer he waffled waffled about, oh, I want to see out the season, I want to try accomplish something. Can't really go anywhere. It's just like Sesko. You can afford the wages, you can pay, but if my man don't want to leave, it's dead. Arsenal. So yeah, it is what it is. If the 22-year-old gives his thumbs up to the deal, Mikel Arteta's side are ready to trigger his release clause. The move would represent a more economical solution compared to AC Milan's Rafa Leao, another target for whom Arsenal have held conversations. Leao is valued at 75 to 80 million euros, and the wages, they'll probably be on the same kind of wages anyways, because Nico Williams ain't on cheap wages, significantly more than the Spanish international. The urgency to strengthen has been heightened by Bukayo Saka's injury, which is set to rule the England international out for up to 3 months. Saka's absence leaves a massive void on the right wing, and Arsenal's current depth in wide positions is a concern. While Martinelli and Trossard offer versatility, both are more comfortable on the left. Nico Williams would likely become the first pick in this role, but he would also provide cover for Saka on the right in the meantime. Additionally, Chelsea loanee Raheem Sterling, who could also provide cover, is also sidelined and has struggled to impress since arriving at the Emirates. Boy, I don't think we're getting Nico Williams, but there you have it. Celtic are ready to battle Premier League clubs for Arsenal's Kieran Tierney. I reckon Tierney, regardless of any other Premier League clubs, unless it's some massive project, you're going back to Celtic. He's set to leave Arsenal in January 2025 or at the end of the season. His contract at Arsenal is expiring soon. Celtic are expected to push for the signing of Kieran Tierney from Arsenal and are ready to battle Premier League clubs for the left-back signature. He's ready to leave. Arsenal had the option to extend Tierney's deal by another 12 months, but have chosen not to do so after he fell out of Mikel Arteta's plans in recent campaigns. Apparently, Celtic are keen to bring him back home, people, whether that's now or a pre-agreement for the end of the season. His high wages at Arsenal could make a January switch difficult for Celtic, with a move in the summer regarded by sources as a much more likely outcome at this stage. Fair enough. So I don't think we're going to lose anything there. Obviously, Zinchenko, Calafiori, and Timber are all seen ahead of him. We'll have to see. Kivior is actually still linked with moves away as well. Let's start closing this because it's a bit annoying to look at. Tab police, allow me. I'm just making sure I don't miss anything for you guys, man. Smash the like button if you haven't. Keep your thoughts coming. We've definitely gone over the Cunha stuff. What else have we got? Celtic are in talks with Arsenal regarding the move for Tierney. Once again, the player's keen on the move. I initially saw Romano say that, to be fair. Apparently, Nuno Mendes of PSG is a target for Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, City, and Manchester United after rejecting PSG's latest contract offer. I mean, we love a left back, wouldn't be against it. Dani Olmo's agent has said that they're going to do everything to stay at Barcelona. Allegedly, we have been linked with Kubo in the last 24 hours. Arsenal have a historic interest in Real Sociedad's Kubo, but a lot of the current links is his agent creating interest. The player has a 60 million euros release clause, and a Premier League player has spoken to the 23-year-old about life in England. Yeah. Arsenal pulled ahead of Chelsea and Liverpool in the race to sign Marmoush, according to Court Offside. We're signing everyone. Arsenal, Barcelona, and PSG are interested in unhappy Chelsea attacker Christopher Nkunku. We're linked with everyone. Barcelona are still looking at Thomas Partey. Perez has made William Saliba his dream signing for Real Madrid in the near future. We're due some money in January if this will open. AS Monaco have agreed personal terms with Stuttgart for Mika Beref, who we let go in the summer. We let him go for nearly 5 million euros. So they're going to make a quick profit there, aren't they, really? We've been linked with Santiago Jimenez. I don't buy that for Arsenal. I must admit, I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. But